Power, courage, and wisdom. Combined, they unleash incredible amounts of energy. But what if only one of these forms of energy was deemed safe in Hyrule? The other two have been outlawed, and anyone using it is banished or punished horribly. There isn't balance in the world. There hasn't been since the beginning. Din and Farore's sacred energy have caused enough destruction and fear that locking away the magic is considered reasonable. There cannot be peace until balance is restored. I am Moxie, and this is Heavy Speculation. The following theories will definitely be more crackpot. As per the title of the series, sometimes there won't be a ton of evidence. However, I feel like the Zelda community needs more fun, speculative theories to chew on. This series is just getting started, so if you're interested in this kind of content, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it helps a ton. Let's get started. Din, Nayru, and Farore are the three golden goddesses who created the land of Hyrule and left behind the Triforce where they departed. There are three forms of energy that have been prevalent throughout the Zelda series. The energy is the kind of magic used to manipulate objects, teleport, travel through time, corrupt the land, power large machines, and even raise the dead. With the Zelda series feeling like it's about to wrap up loose ends, it only feels right to start connecting the dots. Nayru, goddess of wisdom, created the laws of the world. Wisdom is a theme associated with and represented by the color blue. Breath of the Wild is a game that represents wisdom. To make it through the shrines and the divine beasts, you must be clever. Some of the puzzles in the shrines really had me stumped. I may have had to look up one or two. You're presented with an object and you have to get it to another location. You're given a few elements and you must cross an expanse. There are even mazes which you can outsmart. Some would take me hours to figure out. Even thought-provoking spectacles such as the 7 heroines with the 8th hidden one. Breath of the Wild forces you to think. Use your mind to overcome different obstacles. Another thing to mention, the shrines turn blue upon completion. The Sheikah technology is saturated with blue. To start up the laboratories, you must light the blue flames. Even the hero set given to you is blue. It matches along with the other champions, the Sheikah and the royal family.
That blue is a symbol of the royal family. One that has been passed down for countless generations.
Or, in other words, those that make the laws of the land. The developers intended to consciously or unconsciously associate blue with the story. Blue is Breath of the Wild's motif. This is not the only time we've seen blue represented in the series. In Skyward Sword, time shift stones were mined at Nayru Gorge and transported to Nayru mining facility according to one of the ancient robots. It is clear based on the level design and the archaeological information that these stones had been mined for many years. Hylia ordered these to be mined to set her plan in motion. The Gates of Time were constructed of many cubes of time shift stones, which can be used to create a portal that sends Link back in time. The Master Sword could potentially be crafted partially from this material. As in Ocarina of Time, it is used to unlock the Sacred Realm, but also used to accelerate or reverse time for Link. In addition, the Ocarina of Time is used to open the door to the Temple of Time. According to the Ocarina's in-game item description, this is the royal family's hidden treasure which Zelda left behind. It glows with a mystical light. And, on page 86 of Hyrule Historia, its blue-white radiance brings to mind the time shift stones found in the eras of antiquity, which helps solidify but not necessarily prove the time shift stones as a concentrated magical blue material which can be used to manipulate time. That's not the only thing this energy can manipulate. Wind Waker features the Tower of the Gods. Link uses the Servants of the Tower to complete the level. Link faces Godon at the end of the task to be worthy of the Master Sword. They are both controlled by the blue energy. The Sacred Grove statue puzzle in Twilight Princess lights up with the same color blue. Completing this puzzle gives Link access to the Temple of Time. The Temple of Time deserves its own theory, and you can expect one from me very soon. Blessing the Goddess Sword in Nayru's Flame upgrades the sword's dowsing ability. In context of the game, it's kind of boring and it really just helped finish the level.
I need you to guide my sword. Please. Guide my sword.
When speaking with my partner about it though, he brought up that it's a precognitive ability. I, being the scholar that I am, had to look up exactly what that means. It's foreknowledge of an event, especially of a paranormal kind. He said, you're literally holding out a sword like, alright sword, where do we go? And it tells you. Which, honestly, good point. The sword has an ability that exceeds Link's wisdom, showing him what cannot be seen immediately with the eye. Kind of reminds me of the lens of truth. And I'm really curious about where those ancient flames went, because like these were like the sacred flames, like a goddess or a deity producing like a teardrop, right? Like that teardrop is going to be like sacred. What I think is going to happen in Breath of the Wild 2 is you're going to lose the Master Sword and have to reforge a Master Sword, and then you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to find the ancient flames in the underground tunnels, right? Farore, goddess of courage, created those who would uphold such laws. Courage is associated with and represented by the color green. Tears of the Kingdom is a game that represents courage. There are many new exciting game mechanics, which many of you know. Nintendo filed patents on December 15, 2021, featuring combat in the air and moving through terrain. The second trailer teased a new flamethrower weapon and an ability with his new hand, hinting that there will probably be more uses. With Elden Ring's success, I imagine the game being more combat heavy. This game, Link will be fighting at every turn. There may not be many peaceful places left in Hyrule, but there's one problem. The Bane of Evil's blade, the Master Sword, is damaged badly. There may be some process of restoration involved. The Master Sword was forged using the sacred flames that may still be lurking somewhere around Hyrule. There could be trials designed by the goddesses to access the sacred flames. In a video by Wolf's Link's Shadow, that will be linked down in the description below, he speculates that the trailer for Tears of the Kingdom references a sound from the Sacred Realm. The Sacred Realm leaves you without any defense, and forces you to collect the scattered tears within the various locations. Timing, stealth, and most importantly, courage, are required to overcome the trials. Sidebar, the music is so horrifying. One misstep almost leads to a panic attack. Tears of the Kingdom is already associating the color green. Each teaser we have seen has green scattered throughout the landscape. The Master Sword, and even the logo, the greenish energy spiraling out of the greenish hand. Look, I get it, it might be a little bit more teal, but we are speculating here. The developers are beating you upside the head with the color, so that you know this color is specific to this game. Tears of the Kingdom is lining up a theme around courage. We've seen this greenish energy before. An Ocarina of Time, using Zelda's lullaby, sends a lightning bolt down, breaking the royal family's tomb open, giving Link access to the Sun Song. Which, curious considering how Breath of the Wild associates lightning heavily with Farore. However, in this tomb is pools of burning magic acid. Quote, the existence of Sheikah is typically a secret to all but members of the royal family and those close to them. The tribe best fulfills its duty when acting in secret, as the shadows of Hyrule. In eras of war, they are essential agents of the royal family, handling all matters of duties, from combat to intelligence gathering. No matter how dark or perilous the task, they will do what is necessary to keep the kingdom from harm. This tomb was not really about collecting the Sun Song. The developers intended this location to invite speculation. The Sheikah were experimenting with this green energy. Something went horribly wrong, clearly because there are redeads wandering around. To ensure the magic was never discovered, they locked it behind a gravestone that could only be broken with the royal family's secret passcode, which somehow activates lightning. That must be some crazy powerful magic. Not to mention, in the Ocarina of Time 3DS remake, the texture of the energy was changed to match almost perfectly with the new energy in the Tears of the Kingdom trailer. The interlopers were a group of powerful magic wielders that tried to seize the power of the Triforce. They were banished from Hyrule and sent behind the Mirror of Twilight as prisoners. The Twilight Realm's architecture is wrapped with the same eerily familiar color. The soul energy charges the Master Sword with light that can cut through darkness.
Oh my gosh, is that a Zonai swirl?
I'm getting there. The people of Hyrule turn into spirits that are the same color. With this magic, Mina is able to teleport large objects, such as bridges and a giant magma rock, warping from location to location at any given time, and the Fused Shadow seems to be hypercharged with this energy because Mina is able to pop Zant like a party balloon, with only, quote, a fraction of the power. And this even horrifies her. It is not until this game that we know the name of the energy. Soul energy. Even in Breath of the Wild, there are remnants of this energy in the luminous stones. The in-game item description for luminous stones reads, "This mysterious mineral gives off a pale blue glow in the dark, which some believe to be souls of the dead, may be a concentrated form of this energy. The Zonai are a whole culture that value these stones. These people seemingly suffered a similar fate to the interlopers. This energy all seemingly revolves around one thing, the souls of the living or the dead creatures. But soul energy, when tampered with, becomes a powerful, deadly weapon able to easily collapse Hyrule. Souls of the dead is indeed an interesting choice of words. All of this seems too coincidental. The Redead experiment cover-up, the banishing of the interlopers, and presumably anyone associated with this magic. Another instance of the royal family smothering the magic out of the kingdom, likely to maintain the image and protect the kingdom. The Zonai, Twilight, and those affected during the Hylian Civil War have unmatched magic that could uphold the laws, but also threatens the control the royal family has over Hyrule. There are a few other notable mentions that didn't quite fit in the last sequence. Blessing the Goddess Sword in Farore's flame lengthens the blade and increases the offensive power. Clearly, this is keeping with the theme of courage and combat. In Wind Waker, the statues turn green when Link controls them using the command song. Another instance of statues turning green is when Link uses the Dominion Rod in Twilight Princess. The machine in the Tears of the Kingdom trailer also seems to be controlled by this energy. Din created the earth. Power is associated with and represented by the color red. Others have speculated that there could be a third game. This would make Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom part of a trilogy. I will call this hypothetical game Song of the Spirit. The third game would focus around harnessing Link's power, thus purifying his heart so he can wish the cycle away. It could possibly be focusing the story around what makes the cycle, if we don't already learn that from Tears of the Kingdom. Is there a red energy represented throughout Hyrule? You know it. You've seen it. Malice. Malice is a source of energy known for both possessing objects and people. Malice corrupts and reanimates enemies as well. Throughout the series, most of the enemies will explode into what looks like Malice. This form of energy goes all the way back to Skyward Sword in the Ancient Cistern. Nintendo Black Crisis has an excellent breakdown of Malice and will be linked in the description below. He also theorizes that the pools in the Ancient Cistern are pools of Malice. There are cursed bokoblins, dark keys, and dark Lizalfos, all which can jinx Link. They also drop the greatest lore item in Skyward Sword. The evil crystal's description states, quote, "A chunk of pure crystallized monster malice, often obtained from monsters who possess the power to curse. While these crystals predate demise, they could also be a form of Din's energy. Evil is a natural force of the world." In Ocarina of Time, we are never actually told what Ganondorf wishes. He might have wished for ultimate power, but the goddesses were quite the tricksters. He didn't get actual ultimate power. Instead, all of the red energy belongs to Ganondorf from this point on in the series. If this were true, the ideas surrounding Malice start to make more sense. Another thing to note in this game, he uses waves of darkness so that Navi cannot get close, which resembles Malice. In Twilight Princess, quote, "His abiding hatred and lust for power turned into the purest form of Malice. That same evil power passed on to Zant. Ganondorf is able to possess Zelda with his power. In Breath of the Wild, Malice is able to possess different enemy skulls. Nintendo Black Crisis asserts that Ganondorf can see through all the malice. At the end of the game, we fight the final boss. The Japanese translation reads, quote, "The form of Dark Beast Ganon was born from his obsessive refusal to give up on revival." So now we have established 3 energies. Red, green, and blue. Power, courage, and wisdom. There must be a system of checks and balances in the kingdom for such powerful magic. There is one instance in the Zelda franchise demonstrating this system. In Wind Waker, Din's energy hits Farore. Farore's energy hits Nayru. Nayru's energy hits Din. Almost like rock, paper, scissors. Farore beats Nayru, Nayru beats Din, and Din beats Farore. What if Farore's energy was meant to keep Nayru's in check? This is why the Sheikah and the royal family have worked vigorously to make the green magic a secret. Green beats blue. This is also why at the end of Twilight Princess, even in her most powerful form, Midna isn't able to defeat Ganondorf. Red beats green. This could also be an explanation as to why ancient arrows are able to damage Dark Beast Ganon. Blue beats red. Many of the trials meant for Link to prove himself come in 3s. In Skyward Sword, Link imbues the Goddess Sword in 3 sacred flames. Din's power, Farore's courage, and Nayru's wisdom must be collected before learning the Song of the Hero. In Ocarina of Time, Link pursues the Master Sword, and, quote, "In order to open the door, it is said that you need to collect the 3 spiritual stones." In Wind Waker, Link must collect 3 Goddess Pearls. There are 3 pieces of the Triforce. So what happens when they combine? When the colors red, blue, and green combine in real life, they create white. Speaking in terms of these various forms of energy, what could the white energy be? Force. Quote, "The sacred power the gods gave the world. It's the breath of life itself." Zelda has a great video about this and it will be linked in the description. The light force is defined as, quote, "A source of infinite power from the heavens that holds the enormous power of the force, which originally dwelled in all things." Quote, "Imbued with the immense sacred power of the force, the goddess sword was transformed into the master sword. The 3 spiritual stones unlock the door of time. The 3 pearls unlock the tower of the gods. All of these quests are for the master sword. The 3 songs unlock the Song of the Hero, which gives Link access to the Triforce. So the Triforce is the force of the 3 goddesses combined. With this, a person who touches it can make a wish. Zelda is the reincarnation of Goddess Hylia. The sacred or sealing power we have seen Zelda use is Force energy. Force is light itself. and is the most powerful of all the energies. The Rupee. A gem able to advance many of Link's various quests in the Legend of Zelda series. This mysterious mineral is found in all the nooks and crannies, and is able to power the most legendary items. However, it seems like each of the timelines result in some sort of economic decline. What controls the circulating supply of rupees? How did the economies change after the events of Ocarina of Time? What dangers could cause economic collapse? I am Moxie, and this is Heavy Speculation. I was not expecting such overwhelming support from the first few videos. I have been an obsessive Zelda veteran since playing Minish Cap at 15 years old. I'm almost 30. And I've been holding on to a lot of these theories, so any response has been really exciting, and I'm looking forward to making many more. With that said, the following theories will definitely be more crackpot. As per the title of the series, sometimes there won't be a ton of evidence. However, I feel like the Zelda community needs more fun, speculative theories to add to the conversations around these games. This series is just getting started. If you are interested in this kind of content, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps a ton. Let's get started. Rupees are the main circulating currency in the Legend of Zelda series. They are used for nearly all goods and services in the lands of Hyrule, the Dark World, Koholint Island, Termina, Labrynna, Holodrum, the Great Sea, the World of the Ocean King, New Hyrule, Skyloft, Lorule, and Hytopia. Rupees are found in grass, ceramic pots, bushes, trees, and in rocks. The Pakori are likely responsible for rupees hidden in this manner. According to the Forest Pakori figurine item description in Minish Cap, quote, "Not visible to the eye of adults. They delight in making humans happy by hiding helpful items and rupees under grass and rocks all over the world. The Bloopy, from Breath of the Wild, drops rupees when hit. Many theorists speculate that peaks implies they have infinite amounts of rupees, and they create the rupees. All Peaks says is, quote, if you desperately need rupees, you should shoot an arrow at a Bloopy. I hear they drop lots of rupees if you hit them. It is hard to draw that conclusion from this, but it is some sort of explanation on how rupees are quote-unquote printed. They can be collected by defeating enemies, which begs the question, are they carrying them, or are they releasing the magic that they carried? We will come back to this question. Rupees are also mined from stones, ores, and boulders in various games, typically found in volcanic regions. Rupees seem to possess some kind of magical properties. They can power the Rupee armor from Twilight Princess, and the magic armor from Wind Waker. The Great Fairy Fountain from Breath of the Wild can be restored when Link has paid enough rupees as tribute. Item upgrades can be made with rupees and various materials. The circlets made by the Gerudo apply various attributes to aid Link. Donating rupees in A Link to the Past grants higher carrying capacity for items. Since monsters are not actively participating in Hyrule's economy, it is fair to conclude they likely possess these for the magical properties. The Rupore are the inverse of the Rupee. They drain Link's wallet instead of adding money to it. It is found in Skyward Sword, Four Swords Adventures, and Phantom Hourglass. Fun fact! In Skyward Sword, they can be changed to rupees by sprinkling glittering spores on them. The circulating supply of rupees is either 1. Constantly adding more rupees in Hyrule, or 2. There is a fixed supply of rupees. Dr. Wiley speculates that the total supply of rupees is printed by Picori, Bluepies, miners, and adventurers. If this were true, rupees constantly being added to the overall circulating supply would cause inflation. Inflation means more money chasing less goods and services. This causes prices to increase, similar to what we are beginning to see in many countries around the world right now. If the circulating supply is fixed, then Hyrule would experience deflation. Deflation meaning less money chasing more goods and services. The price of goods and services would plummet. There would be reduced government spending in Hyrule. Construction of new roads, bridges, and repairs to Castletown would not be invested in by the royal family. It would cause reduced spending by Hylians, causing businesses to potentially close. In Triforce Heroes, there are silver antique coins. Quote, "They were issued by the Bank of Hyrule, but their era is unknown." In Majora's Mask, there are gold bars in Sakon's hideout. In Twilight Princess, Giovanni has an excess of gold coins and other precious materials. This form of currency either predates the rupee or is used alongside the rupee, just like real-life gold and silver. Negative consequences of an unrestrained pursuit of wealth can lead to a focus on individual gain at the expense of the well-being of others, and can contribute to social and economic inequalities. It can also lead to a disregard for the common good and a prioritization of the personal gain over the needs and concerns of the community. In this way, the depiction of society of Hyrule Castletown in Ocarina of Time as being obsessed with wealth could be seen as a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed and the negative impact it can have on the community. Those hoarding wealth are cursed, as demonstrated by many Zelda games. Giovanni is turned into a gold statue and cannot even enjoy his wealth. The family in Majora's Mask is turned into Skulltulas. Too many rupees means too much magic. Greedy people are punished brutally, unable to even live their life. The economy before Ganondorf took over the Sacred Realm is depicted as an important aspect of life for the people of Castletown. It's a bustling marketplace where people are obsessed with money and material possessions. This is reflected in the characters' dialogue and the presence of shops and merchants throughout the town. There are services extending beyond basic living needs, including many game shops. It appears that the pursuit of wealth and the acquisition of rupees is a more important aspect to Hylian society. The emphasis on money, prices, and trade in the marketplace suggests that the people of Hyrule Castletown place a high value on wealth and the ability to buy and sell goods and services. It is possible that the society depicted in Hyrule Castletown exhibits class differences based on the ownership and control of the modes of production, as described by philosopher and economist Karl Marx. In this system, those who own and control means of production, such as factories or other businesses, are considered to be higher class, while those who work for them and do not own the means of production are considered to be lower class. War. What is it good for? Trying to stimulate the Hyrulean economy. After Link is defeated in Ocarina of Time, the imprisoning war takes place. Ganondorf steamrolled Castletown, so basically there was not a lot of economic activity taking place. A Link to the Past has a few small shops and inns, but is nowhere near the level of prosperity Castletown reached. The most expensive item in the game is flippers, costing a whopping 500 rupees. In the Dark World, it's even worse. Kakariko Village's counterpart is called the Village of Outcasts, and is also known as Thieves' Town. Honestly, there's no economy here. K2L suggests that sometime during this era, there was a monetary reform of the rupee, making 1 A Link to the Past rupee worth 10 Spirit Tracks rupees. This timeline is brutal in terms of war. In most of the games on this timeline, there is just a singular village and not a giant thriving economy. There does seem to be slow economic recovery overall. According to the official timeline, quote, "The royal family uses the Triforce. Prosperity gives way to decline, with Hyrule reduced to a small regional power." In the original Legend of Zelda, the map is literally a wasteland with nothing but a cemetery. In Legend of Zelda 2, the map does seem to expand on what could be seen in the original, with only a few small villages scattered throughout the region. However, there's no rupees or shops present in the game. No rupees means no economy. This timeline is pretty much doomed. In the child timeline, Ganondorf's plot is stopped and he is banished to the Twilight Realm. In Majora's Mask, Termina's economy does not seem to be struggling. There are even shops and minigames in Clocktown. There are events and live music. Heck, there's even a bar. Hyrule is still enjoying economic prosperity. There are many supply chain issues in Twilight Princess, though. The economy is somewhat active, as seen by the exported goat cheese and the pumpkins in Ordon Village being present in Snow Peak Ruins. Hot spring water and any metals or mined materials exported from Death Mountain would have been halted because of Darbus just having to touch the thing. The bridge from Castletown to Hyrule Field is in need of repairs. Zant froze Zora's domain, causing a water supply issue, so there are a few breaks in the supply chain causing economic strain. Link is able to actually fix the economy by making donations to the Gorons to fix the bridge to re-establish trade, melt the ice in Zora's domain, and open Malamart in Castletown. Oh, that's some pretty sick armor. What's it do? We'll come back to that. In the adult timeline, the economy in Wind Waker is shown to be in a state of decline, with prices being significantly higher in the presence of monopolies and other abusive economic practices. The sea of inflation begins to swell when Link buys his first mandatory item, the sale pricing at a steep 80 rupees. Compare this to the Ocarina of Time starter item, the Deku Shield. The bomb business holds a monopoly on bombs. 10 units are, get this, 10,000 rupees. The business deciphering the various maps charges a cool 398 rupees per map. Instead of imports and exports just being a carriage ride away, now trade is limited to those owning boats. There's not many people with boats, so there is an incredibly high demand. Link takes advantage of this by doing the island trading sequence. Though, this is treated like stocks for Link. If he sells the item for a higher cost, he must pay the difference. Kinda like selling short. Beetle is still pretty cheap though.
Thank you!
Link can upgrade his wallet to 5,000 rupees, a full 900% higher than Ocarina of Time. It doesn't help that the rare items Beetle sells are 500 to 950 rupees. There's no global united economy, which causes problems such as the monopoly and some people just having to own their own private islands. However, the economy is still depicted as an important aspect of life, with various businesses and trade routes operating through the Great Sea. Overall, the economy is an integral part of the characters' lives, with both positive and negative consequences depending on how it is managed and the actions of the people within it. In Spirit Tracks, the economy is heavily dependent on the railway system. The sea of inflation pretty much becomes a tsunami by the time New Hyrule is established. At the start of Spirit Tracks, Link can carry up to 999 rupees, a 99% increase from Wind Waker, and a whopping 999% increase from Ocarina of Time. The giant amount of inflation could be from the construction of New Hyrule. The Spirit Tracks are gradually disappearing, causing yet another case of supply chain issues. It doesn't help that the creatures of the pirate hideout are causing mayhem to the chain either. The heart container and the quiver cost 2,000 rupees, twice as much as normal value. Beetle isn't cheap either, making his purchase point system even worse since Phantom Hourglass. To summarize, the child timeline is ravaged by war, and ends with no existence of rupees. The child timeline has some supply chain issues which are addressed by Link in Twilight Princess, but is still in a precarious situation. The adult timeline is experiencing extreme hyperinflation that is out of control. In a theory by Guy, which will be linked in the description below, he asserts that the magical armor in Wind Waker is powered by the Great Fairies. Magic, instead of rupees, is required to maintain the connection to the fairies. He came to this conclusion because of the visual similarities between the magic armor items and the spells the fairies give in Ocarina of Time. He also speculates the magic armor in Twilight Princess is drained by the same properties as the Rupee has, because the rupees in the magic armor turn black when Link's wallet is depleted. Going back to the fixed circulating supply, Twilight Princess's economy is already on shaky grounds. This armor could potentially crash Hyrule's economy. Rupees would inevitably run low and cause intense deflation, depending on how much Link actually uses this armor. If Link was wearing this armor constantly, Hylians would run out of rupees to pay for their cost of living. Bartering would inevitably take over. This would take a lot of the control the royal family has over the kingdom. No rupees means no new roads or bridges. This means also that businesses would suffer. Think back to how the coin shortage affected Americans during the pandemic. This armor would make it worse than that. The magic armor being used often in the child's timeline could potentially fix the economy. This severe inflation due to the overwhelming amount of rupees could be eased over time with the use of the magic armor. As long as Link keeps getting hit, of course. It could take years of Link being beaten with clubs in the armor to have any lasting effects on the economy. It's just kind of funny to think about Link just taking one for the team and getting beat down for the sake of Hyrule's economy. Somehow, Hyrule outgrew the issues. In Breath of the Wild, the economy is depicted as relatively healthy. Aside from the calamity swallowing Hyrule Castletown, of course. Before the last calamity, 100 years before the events of the game, the economy must have been booming, with Castletown being the center of all trade and commerce. Even so, the different races around Hyrule have good trade routes. Market Power has an excellent educational and informative look at the economy in Breath of the Wild, which you should check out in the description below. Everything follows the law of one price, which is actually relatively healthy. Everything everywhere in Hyrule is one price, meaning selling a Hylian shroom in Gerudo Desert would cost the same price as selling it at Death Mountain. The conditions of the law of one price are 1. Free entry of supply, or, in other words, Hylians to come in and supply the goods. That also means there can't be a monopoly on goods, so no one else could supply it. 2. Free movement of goods, meaning no trade frictions. No one is stopping Link bringing things in anywhere, and there obviously isn't a customs agency. 3. No trade costs. That means no embargoes, tariffs, or taxes on the products. Because of being imported and exported, the law of one price is very good for Hyrule's economy, even allowing Link to aid in setting up a whole new settlement, Terrytown, which allows people who live there to establish new shops and sell even more goods and services. Obviously, there is no confirmed placement on the timeline, so it is difficult to speculate on how the economy healed since the previous titles. There are many different worlds we encounter in the Legend of Zelda series. Link has been to many parallel worlds on his many different adventures. These worlds all have their own properties that make them unique. Some of these worlds are temporary, while others have their own history. Which worlds are considered parallel worlds? Is there a way to travel to these worlds? Who knows how to travel dimensions? I am Moxie, and this is Heavy Speculation. The following theories will definitely be more crackpot. As per the title of the series, sometimes there won't be a ton of evidence. However, I feel like the Zelda community needs more crazy theories to add to the conversations. This is the third video in the series with many more to come. If you are interested in more fun speculative Zelda theories, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps a ton. Let's get started. The Legend of Zelda has a network of confusing worlds on page 28 of the Zelda Encyclopedia. This chart will be a reference of the parallel worlds in the Zelda universe. The places that appear in white are referred to as parallel worlds, while the places in black are referred to as kingdom. The heavens is a higher plane of existence and is connected to Hyrule and the land of spirits of good. The golden goddesses most likely reside here, and not much else is known about this place. Quote, "The Dark World is a kind of second Hyrule, born of Ganon's avarice. A mirror that reflects a world full of gloom and despair, standing in opposition to all that is good. The Dark World is a corrupted incarnation of the Sacred Realm. In Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf entered the Sacred Realm, obtaining the Triforce of Power. This resulted in the transformation of the Sacred Realm into the Dark World. If Ganondorf defeats the Hero of Time, he is sealed inside the Dark World by the Seven Sages. During the Imprisoning War, the seal on the Dark World started to weaken. The people who sought the Triforce would go into this world and turn into monsters. The King of Hyrule ordered the Seven Sages to seal the Dark World again. The battles to protect the sages came to be known as the Imprisoning War. In A Link to the Past, Aghanim began capturing the descendants of the sages. He used the descendants' power to weaken the seal to the Dark World. The final maiden, Princess Zelda, sends a plea to Link. He is eventually able to capture Zelda and send her to the Dark World, which breaks the Seven Sages' seal. Aghanim does the same to Link. Atop the Pyramid of Power in the Dark World, Link is prompted to save the Seven Sages. He is destined to defeat Ganon, and faces him at the Pyramid of Power. After the battle is over, Link uses the Triforce to restore the Sacred Realm. The Twilight Realm is a world of shadows and perpetual twilight. It was created when the light spirits were sent to the Sacred Realm to stop the usurpers. They ultimately banished the interlopers using the Mirror of Twilight. The only source of light comes from two orbs called souls. Souls are normally on display in the Palace Shrine, near the Palace of Twilight. This place is the home of the Twilight, descendants of the interlopers. According to Hyrule Historia, quote, Ganondorf was sent to the Twilight Realm. There, the Demon King granted the ambitious Zant magical powers and began plotting to unite the Light World and the Twilight Realm into a single world called the Dark Realm. The Oracle of Seasons takes place in Holodrum, where the Onyx wants to create chaos. General Onyx imprisons Din, which causes the seasons to change erratically. This place is governed by the 4 seasons. Below this place is a subterranean world called Subrosa. Link is personally asked by the Triforce to accept a quest. With a flash of light, he is transported to Holodrum. This is similar to the game's counterpart, Oracle of Ages. According to the Encyclopedia, quote, Link was transported to the land of Labrynna by the Triforce. This land has a deep connection to the flows of time, and is referred to as the Domain of Time. It is home to the Guardian of the Flows of Time, the Oracle of Ages, Labrynnians, Zora, and Gorons, and they all share a republic here. Link is in a shipwreck and ends up on Koholint Island. There are many residents, and Link is physically interacting with this place. He collects the instruments by defeating the major dungeons and wakes up the windfish. But, quote, the world was an illusion. It is an illusionary place, and yet, still, Malon turns into a bird. This suggests it may have been a physical place, even if it was brief. The world of the Ocean King looks similar to the Great Sea. Quote, our world? So what is the world that we're in now? What is this place? It neighbors the Great Sea and is connected by water. There are 16 distinctly different islands than those seen in Wind Waker. Since Link still has the hourglass, this also suggests that this is a physical place, even if for a brief period. r/Zelda Discord says, another world is all we know. Onuma refers to it as the neighboring sea. Quote, the world of the Ocean King, though in another realm, appears very much like the Great Sea of Link's world. Quote, the Great Sea is connected to the neighboring world of the Ocean King by water, and on the same page is listed as a parallel world. All very confusing. Since we are speculating, we will add this to the list of parallel worlds. There is little known about the Minish World, also referred to as the Picori world. It is connected to Hyrule by the mystical Minish door, which only opens every 100 years during the Picori festival. Inside, there is an elemental sanctuary where the Picori blade is kept. This is also possibly where the light force originated. At the beginning of Majora's Mask, Link travels to the parallel world of Termina. He goes through a tree and falls off a ledge. There are some crazy, trippy hallucinations, man. This is the transition that takes Link into Termina. We know this is not Hyrule anymore from the in-game dialogue from Andrew's mother. Quote, the imp was frightened and saddened. He had lost all of his old friends. The imp returned to the heavens and harmony was restored. The Encyclopedia also states, quote, the entrance to the parallel world is deep in a forest in Hyrule and leads to Clocktown, Termina's central hub. Link is coming from Hyrule to Termina by means of this tree. In the Stone Tower Temple, there is a portal that shimmers with a rainbow light. This portal takes Link to a desert where he fights the final boss. There is a theory out by Monster Maze on this topic. He speculates that the portal takes you back to Hyrule. Now, this is a great theory, and it provoked much more thought. This portal is not how Link travels to Termina. We know this from the beginning of the game. It is a different visual effect than what happens when Link takes the portal. What if this portal is hinting at something potentially much more than just Hyrule? Let's go back to the chart in the Encyclopedia. There are 8 different parallel worlds in the series. The Minish World, Holodrum, Labrynna, Koholint Island, the Twilight Realm, the Dark World, the world of the Ocean King, and Termina. There are 7 different portal-like structures found in Termina. Look, I might be looking way too deep into the moon, but why not? At the end of the game, the room Link fights Majora in is peculiar. There are 6 different circles on the walls around him. They have the same rainbow sparkles. They look like the doors are shut as there is no light pouring through them. Who knows about Termina? Link, Skull Kid, and the Happy Mask Salesman. In Ocarina of Time, the Happy Mask Salesman opens a shop in Castletown. is only open for a short period of time, until Ganondorf takes control of Hyrule Castle. Presumably, when he closes up shop, he leaves Hyrule to travel to Termina. As he is walking through the Lost Woods, he is ambushed by the Skull Kid. Majora's Mask is stolen and corrupts Skull Kid. Recovering the mask becomes one of the main quest lines. Once the mask is returned, he continues on his travels. It is important to note, the salesman says he is traveling more than once in Majora's Mask. And it is very important that he continues his travels on a timely schedule. Where is he going? He is traveling to Labrynna, one of the parallel worlds, and opens up shop there. Clearly, he came here from Termina. Majora's Mask takes place in the Child's timeline, while Oracle of Ages takes place in the Hero is Defeated timeline. It has always felt like the Happy Mask salesman knows more than he lets on. The Lost Woods is called the Lost Woods because people get lost there. They can turn into Stalfos, a Skull Kid, or Deku Scrub. Clearly he knows how to navigate the Lost Woods without becoming lost. The salesman also knows where the entrance to Termina is, as he is waiting on the other side of the entrance when Link arrives in Termina. Then he travels to the parallel world of Labrynna from Termina. There must be a mode of transportation through Termina, again, because he reiterates he is traveling in Majora's Mask over and over. So essentially, Termina is the terminal from which to travel. Once at the terminal, one is able to access all 7 parallel worlds. It would provide a separate entrance to the worlds, such as the Minish Realm. It's only open every 100 years. The Twilight Realm only has one Mirror of Twilight. A backup pocket realm dimension within the Lost Woods would allow people with the knowledge of its existence to travel through it. Taking this theory a step further, let's look at the Sheikah. The Sheikah are tasked with protecting the realm by Hylia. So, what if the Sheikah can use this realm to travel from dimension to dimension as needed? Since time is a major mechanic of this dimension, they could possibly control Termina's place in time and then enter a realm. They have only appeared in games that take place in Hyrule though, aside from Twilight Princess, which features the Twilight Realm. There are implications they have visited this place, as their influence is seen in the architecture. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this theory, like and scribble to make the algorithm gods happy. I'll see you in the next one.